we go. Here 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 we go. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets, the posts, whatever you want to call it. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for episode 195 of the platform. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us today. If you're brand new to the channel, I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to keep the algorithm going. If you want to join the conversation, leave a comment below. If you know anybody that's interested in the content, share the content, right? So, and you can check out the full episodes, or you could check out some of our segmented clips that I put out throughout the week as well. If you just need shorter chunks of what we're talking about here in these episodes. So yeah, man, we grinding. Everything is good, man. Everything is good. Life is good, for real. Can't complain. We are approaching the end of graduation season, or like we're in the middle of graduation season, because we know like some schools, some places still ain't getting out of school yet. You know, if we talking about like bigger cities, you talking about Philly. I'm on the East Coast, so talking about Philly. You talking about places in like New York. A lot of those kids are still in school. So we're in the middle of graduation season. Congratulations to all the graduates, no matter what level you at, whether it was college, whether it was high school. Shout out to everybody. I just went to my sister's graduation, so I got a sister that was a senior in high school, and it was dope to be able to support her. My mom had us all wearing shirts, and so we all looked like a team. So it was probably about like 8 of us over there, and we all had the shirts on, hooting and hollering. My cousin, it's my sister's cousin, but my cousin, he gonna shout out, and while as she was walking off the stage, he gonna say, "Chapo, we did it." So my sister, her name, she's named after a country, right? She's named after a country, and my cousin, he always be making jokes, like he'll use a different country, so he'll call her Mexico, right? And her name ain't that. And then so then he called her Chapo. Like sometimes he'll just make little jokes or whatever. And it was funny because like I felt like people was laughing. People thought I was like, what the heck is he talking about? And it was a good little moment where it kind of embarrassed my sister a little bit. She's a real shy girl. She ain't really into all that. But her last names are different. She got her dad and my mom's last name. And so like she's at the end of the alphabet. She's at the end of the alphabet, and yeah, so she had a while to go before she could participate and walk the stage. Um, One of the cool things though, and I gotta find this picture. I gotta find, my mom. I gotta ask her for this picture, but I actually have a picture of me holding my graduation night. Right, my sister was 1 month old when I graduated. And so there's a picture of me holding my baby sister the day of my graduation. So it's like a cool full circle moment. And it's kind of crazy, like when you think about like how much time has passed since then, and like, just where we're at right now. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, she's a graduate. I don't know exactly what her plans are. I don't even know if she knows exactly what her plans are. But again, nonetheless, still an accomplishment. Um, yeah, man. Hopefully, like she takes it to the next level and does some great things with her life, man. So shout out to her for just making it to the finish line, so to speak. So today's episode, we're gonna talk about some things that are going viral a little bit. Some conversation starters, some talking points. Probably not spend too much time on some things, but some drama that's going on. Something that has to do with some Cardi B Offset drama, and that has to deal with her new man. We'll talk about that. We'll brush on that real quick. There's a viral post, a viral video that interview that Lotto was a part of, and her talking about how being rich is boring. So we'll watch that one video, and then we'll kind of dissect that and kind of react to that. We're gonna talk a little bit about some headlines that are just in the news, as it relates to Job Corps and its future closing. but also we're gonna talk a little bit about um, tech news and how TikTok is not the place to go when you need mental health advice because studies are showing that the experts on there, the information that you're getting on there is riddled with misinformation. So we'll talk about that article, read a couple pieces from that, but then also just kind of react. We're gonna react to Tom Thibodeau's firing, and also just where we're at in the NBA playoffs now that we're entering the finals. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit worried about giving a prediction because my prediction's been bad. This whole thing, I haven't. Maybe by the time we get to that segment, I'll know who I'm gonna pick because I'm still kind of on the fence out of OKC and Indiana. So we'll see. And then we're gonna actually react to. I got some recaps of some TV shows that I watched recently that I love. One is The Shy, but then one where I finished the first season because it was on Netflix, and it was the series called Forever, right? The series called Forever, and that was a dope little series. And we're gonna get into that, and just like some of the things that they show on there, some of the representations and misrepresentations, just even in both shows. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. So yeah, man, let's get started. Let's get started. So I wasn't gonna like I just had a conversation about this Offset, Cardi B, Stephon Diggs stuff, and I kind of think like, oh, there's nothing really to talk about, but we could kind of brush on it a little bit just because it caused some social media outrage and it got people upset. So first, so yeah, so if you've been living under a rock, right? Cardi B and Offset, they got a divorce or they filed for divorce at some point. And I don't know if the divorce is final for sure or what. I don't know the status, but I know they separated and then a divorce is either happened or it's coming, it's imminent. So both parties, seem to be with the other people. And then it was around Valentine's Day. It was maybe a little bit before that, but Valentine's Day, we saw a sneak peek that somebody took her out on a date. No, matter of fact, Valentine's Day, yeah, we did see some pictures, but like it came out when there was some controversy when Offset was kind of wilding out a little bit on social media, and he went on her live and they was arguing. I remember covering that real quick on the podcast. Offset was basically talking about her being with somebody while she was pregnant with their youngest child, and just again it was a little bit, it's wild, it's a little nasty, especially if she was sexually active. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird on Stephon Diggs' part but yeah, we ended up finding out that Stephon Diggs was the man that was with her. So it is a little bit weird on his part if he, messing with a woman that's pregnant. That's not something that I guess it's different strokes for every folks. It's a little bit, it comes off on the fetish side. I think because she's a celebrity, he kind of gets a pass. And because he's a celebrity, he kind of gets a pass. But like normal people doing that, that would be weird. It would just be weird. And if you disagree with that, you're weird. I like, and I know that might seem rigid and that might be like, oh, you don't care about people's opinions. No, that's weird. That's weird. Um, it's weird. Again, it's weird on a lot of sides. It's weird on the woman's side, right? To mess with somebody while you pregnant, like actively pregnant, you mess with a different man. It feels weird to the father of the kid, right? But then it's weird. I mean, and for obvious reasons, the jealousy, I mean, it probably brings up some insecurities that you have. It's gonna you know, touch a chord a little bit. But then it's weird on the guy's part that's dating the woman that's pregnant because it's like, bro, you Stephon Diggs, you can get a lot of women, you got access to a lot of women, and sure it's Cardi B, but like, bro, you couldn't wait until she dropped that baby, my nigga. Like, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's a little wild. So that's where we start with that. So we know that she's messed with Stephon Diggs. They've been posting a lot of stuff lately, a lot of videos. So she's like, you know, unofficially he's her man. You know what I mean? At least at what we see on the videos. There was some controversy about the one video that when they were on a yacht and he had all the there was like a lot of girls in the video, and there was some controversy because they said that he pulled out some like pink substance, and then all the girls were surrounding him and like they wanted some of this, and we don't know what that pink substance was. And people were speculating that like, oh man, he about to get a suspension. We about to find out what's going on. Which just on Diggs' part, it's like, man, you gotta if you are doing extracurricular activities off of the field, you gotta be definitely smarter than to like let yourself be recorded. Most celebrities, man, they don't even play like that. They be taking people's phones. And so like if I am doing stuff I'm not supposed to be doing in the off season. Obviously, you know when you're gonna get tested and things like that, but like I'm not gonna add no fuel to the fire. So we got that. So what's come out is that in the crash out. So apparently Offset he went online and he made a couple threatening tweets, and one of them talked about somebody gonna have to die. Somebody gonna have to check out. You know what I mean? We'll say check out. Somebody gonna have to check out if they keep playing with my son. Um, and then I think he said something else, and then he apparently he deactivated his social media profile. Twitter at least and maybe all the socials. But so the controversy is that there's a picture going around. So they show Stephon Diggs with a braided hairstyle, right? And with his new team, you know what I mean, Patriots, number 8, new number and everything like that. So we see him, he got this braided hairstyle, and then they show like a side by side with Cardi B and Offset's son. His name is Wave, by the way. I mean, cool name, but kind of weird at the same time. So I mean, whatever. It is what it is. But then they show him with the same hairstyle. So then so it's like this thing where he's like he's mad about it, and he's like, "Yo, y'all playing with me." So on one hand, it is petty. It's petty for Offset to kind of react to that, and he got to know that the internet, that's what the internet's here for. It would be petty if Cardi B purposely did that, right? Like if she purposely got her son's hair braided to match Stephon Diggs. It would be petty on Stephon Diggs' part if the kid had the hairstyle first, and then Diggs like copied it just to be like the little kid. Like it's all weird, it's all petty. Um, but we're finding out that like the little kid, like he don't even have hair. His hair doesn't even look like that currently right now. So it's a lot about nothing. You know what I mean? So there's not much to talk about. I did think that because Stu was, I just seen him commenting on something, and he was saying that Diggs is playing with fire, and I would agree Diggs is playing with fire if for whatever reason he got his hair braided to match the little kid. Again, if Cardi got her son's hair braided to match Diggs, that's kind of weird, but it's nothing to crash out over. It's not something to get to talk about people checking out from the world. It's not something that you need to be threatening people off of. And even if you do feel those emotions, like genuinely you feel angry, you feel like you gotta get somebody out of here, it's definitely not smart to like tweet those type of things. Now, he ain't gonna get in no like legal trouble. But still, like everybody don't need to know your moves. Like if you are planning on, reacting in an irrational way, because I don't condone him acting in an irrational way. But if you do plan on doing something like that, you don't want evidence that you were gonna do it. So now, if something happens to Stephon Diggs, like something happens between him and Offset, and if charges were to get filed, if it went through the legal system, there's some evidence there, despite him deleting it. There's some evidence there that like it was like premeditated. Um, I think overall it's getting messy because Cardi B is she went on a live rant recently talking about how Offset's not providing for her children, how he's footing her with these expensive bills. She broke down all the bills that she has. Even there's a house that he's currently living in that he's not paying for, but that she's footing the bill for. So it's a lot of their their dirty laundry is definitely getting aired out. And I don't, despite it being fuel for content, that's something that I don't never really want to see. I don't, and I think, we come from a different age. I come from a different age where like media training was a thing. And although we did not have social media, there were a lot of tabloid magazines, but celebrities just knew to kind of just stay away from that type of stuff. These celebrities create their own fires, they create their own tabloids, and it's just a mess. But like, I guess if the shoe was on the other foot, it's petty. It's petty on both sides. I just think that it's yeah. I hate to use like I just seen a post too talking about some words that we need to stop using in the black community, but it's just unbecoming. It's unbecoming. It's uncouth. It's reckless. It looks away, man. It don't look like these people are millionaires. You know what I mean? It don't look like these people have anything to lose. It looks like they still in the hood, still in the streets, still, with the same kind of problems. And we got to just do better as a culture to kind of get away from that stuff. But shout out to Cardi B and Stephon Diggs. If they in a happy relationship, that's on them. Um, Offset though has to just he's not with that was his wife. That was his wife, but if he ain't gonna be with her, he ain't gonna treat her a certain way. You know what I mean? He gotta kind of move on with his own self too. So, but messy nonetheless. But that's all I gotta say. I think it's petty. You shouldn't react that way to something like that. But I can understand the pettiness and the anger, but I don't think I'm gonna crash it. I'm not gonna give people the satisfaction because that's all this was. This was entertainment for people to be like, haha, look at you, Offset. You don't, probably people equating it to like his relationship with Cardi and like, oh, you see, you don't like it, and making false comparisons. So, but yeah, again, man, just Offset, don't do nothing dumb. Stephon Diggs, if you are trying to fuel the fire, we don't know what's happened behind the scenes if Offset has threatened this man at all, but like you don't want to do that, man. You don't want to get into those kind of problems either, man. You are entering toward like the end. This is probably gonna be your last contract for your last team. So you want to make sure that you're healthy, you're ready for the game, and like you don't got this kind of drama over your head. So, but that's that on that. So let's move on to the next topic here. All right, with the next topic, we do have a video to share. So this is Lotto during a baller, I think it's baller alert interview, and she's just talking about being rich and how it's not as appealing as probably like she anticipated. But let's watch what she has to say, and then we can dissect then.
Like, I don't know nobody in my family is a millionaire. Like, I really did that.
What does it feel like to be able to buy almost anything you want?
It's kind of boring.
Why?
I was a millionaire at 21. So it's like you grow up fast. I think I get the most like fun spoiling everybody around me now. It's boring. I don't think that's what everybody should be chasing.
What
Like,
should
it's
people be
fun,
chasing?
don't get me wrong. True happiness. Because we don't have money, we chase it. Like, okay, I gotta get this money. Then when you get the money, it's like, damn, now what? And I don't even have billions yet. Yeah, it just get old fast.
Do you feel like you'll ever get to a point where you have a different perspective or a different relationship with money? Or
Of course, I want more. Like, I want it to be like a generational thing. But I also just be like, dang, like, am I just gonna be like chasing money forever?
maybe if you would have came into that first million later in your life, you'd have a different appreciation.
Yeah. I
Because
don't
most
know.
people don't touch a million at 21.
Right. Like, I don't know nobody in my family.
So this was actually a complex interview that she did, and oh man, wow. Okay. So she used a lot of contradicting words, whatever. So she said, "Yes, it's boring." Like, so I don't like when if you're gonna have somebody on an interview, man. I hope you just hope that people can like just articulate a little bit better. But like, you can't say something's boring and then say it's fun because like To me, that those are opposites to me. Those are antonyms or whatever. But she starts to talk about true happiness and like saying, I guess saying there's obviously some type of void there. And I like how he tried to give her some perspective and basically saying like, maybe she just doesn't appreciate it the same way because she was so young. And she points out the fact that she's so young. It's cool that she said that she likes to give to her family members and spoil people, so to speak. But there's obviously some type of void there with her. And I think part of it has to do with what she does for a living. You know what I mean? Like, no knock to any rapper, right? But like, I think that entertainers, especially like young entertainers, I don't think they necessarily appreciate, kind of what they're doing. They don't even realize what they're doing, and then they're just living fast. And it ain't like Lotto. Lotto don't make no conscious music or anything like that. She making club, ratchet joints, whatever. So like when you get older, right, those kind of scenes do get old to you. You know what I mean? And then I don't know what kind of relationship that she's in, but like when you're not finding true fulfillment, or you not find even what you're doing, like rapping, obviously rapping is not giving her enough fulfillment that the money that she's earning, like the spoil, like, because that's a gift that's rare. It's not like artists these days ain't even making money for real, for real. Like there are some artists that figure out how to make a bag. But although we have streaming is actually, nowadays it's made it harder for people to make money. Record labels ain't signing people at the same rate, and it's a lot of stuff going on. So like I think she probably feels some type of void because of like what she does, the type of rap that the type of music that she makes, and the lifestyle that she lives. I mean, it's all bling and clubs and twerking and stuff like that. And like, yeah, that shit would get old. You know what I mean? That stuff would get boring. But like, I don't think in this economy though, it ain't good to be talking about not being grateful. I wouldn't even say grateful, but not appreciating, or not, it feels like she's not appreciating the money that she has. Like, it's like, there's fans out there that are giving their last to go to your shows. That's giving, I won't say pay for music, but giving their last to buy your merch and meet and greets, whatever it is. And then for you to complain about it a little bit, or for you to say, it just seems in this time, in this day and age, just seems a little bit out of touch. That's something that maybe you could write in a memoir and you could reflect on. But like, to say that right now, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's, you know, but like, but yeah, if you had to grind for a long, long time, like, you think about, she was a child star, so to speak, and she was on that rap competition show, that Jermaine Dupri's competition show, and she was like 16 then. So like, although yeah, it probably felt like a grind, it didn't take her long. Like, it didn't take her long into adulthood, I would say, for her to actually make a lot of money. And so, yeah, there's probably not that love and appreciation. But she should just be careful, kind of sit back a little bit, and she needs to find. So she said, "Oh man, what am I gonna be doing? Chasing money? Like, that's when you supposed to use your money for the good things. You know what I mean? That's where you can, like I said, money itself is not gonna get you fulfillment and buy you happiness, but like it can be a tool for a lot of different things. So like, all right, well, she got to find a purpose outside of rap. So like, do something for a community that you're a part of. Do something for women. Do something for female rappers. Like, do something for just female creatives in general. Like, and she might be doing some stuff, but like, she obviously has to recalibrate a little bit and do some soul searching. But like, ain't nobody regular trying, ain't no regular citizen trying to hear no artist talking about, oh, it don't mean nothing to have a lot of money. Like, girl, bye. Girl, bye. You know what I mean? But what do you think? What do you think? You think that's a common thing that artists feel? Do you think what she's saying makes her a little bit out of touch, to the reality of the situation, and is it bad timing? And what do you think she needs to do moving forward to kind of find that happiness. If you have any thoughts on this, leave a comment below. I appreciate it. But yeah, so moving on to headlines now. Moving on to regular headlines. And it kind of fits. It kind of fits. We're talking about working, we're talking about the economy. Job Corps is closing its doors. There's a lot of articles about it. I actually have a extended relative that is in Job Corps now to be an electrician. He's supposed to be done like in July, like he graduates. So I think his class is going to be the last graduating class. But for so what Job Corps is, it was a program created by the Department of Labor, and it's a way to get people who don't really come from money, that come, to get them to learn a trade, and they kind of live there. So it's kind of like a dormitory situation. They got to take classes, and then they learn their trade, and then hopefully they get jobs. But they are cutting the program, and there's a lot of people speculating that this is obviously, they feel that this comes from the administration, and like with the budget cuts. What they're citing is that Job Corps is closing because it's had financial issues for years. Like this is a program, although it's a good program for some people. It is it's not making any money. It's not making any money. They're in a deficit currently. They're in a over two. It was, the number was high, but we're gonna just say over $200 million deficit. So they're in the red right as we speak right now. They have low graduation rates. So although it is a good program, there's a lot of people that don't finish the programs, and they don't end up graduating. They talked about issues with actual job placement, and like job placement is not as robust and as good as it is, or as it's advertised. And then there's actually some security and safety concerns at these different campuses. So like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I've heard like of people, people getting into conflicts with each other, and like, so people not feeling safe in on these campuses. I mean, like I said, the people are supposed to kind of treat it like college, but like, yeah, and even Lil Cuz told me like, yeah, he's seen people like he's had to set it on people. He's had to, he had to defend himself because, and I don't want to stereotype anybody that's in Job Corps, but in Job Corps, we're getting, these aren't kids, these aren't young people, because you don't even gotta be a kid necessarily. This is like young people. Um, a lot of these people come from disadvantaged uh neighborhoods and disadvantaged communities. So they don't have much, you know what I mean? So like, they some of these you know students, they might not have the proper decorum or conflict resolution that you would kind of expect from adults. They kind of finding their way on, as they go. And again, you get a bunch of people around each other, young people, high-headed people, and then things just happen. But it is unfortunate because it does seem to be a way to kind of save kids and young people and kind of put them in the right track. One, especially if you cannot afford to put yourself in the trade school, it's a good opportunity. But yeah, like just like anything, money matters. Now, is it really in deficit? We could probably dig into them numbers, but like they're saying that year over year, it's just been snowballing. There's actually, even in Pennsylvania, Penn State, y'all, everybody knows Penn State. So Penn State has satellite campuses all over the state. Like almost every little town has some type of Penn State campus, right? Many small towns all across Pennsylvania. Well, all those satellite campuses, or majority of those satellite campuses, are about to close as well. So like, some people, the conspiracy is that like, all right, so this is, what I mean, the government is shutting these entities down because they want people to join the military, or they want them to be, to find a life of crime, to find a life of crime, so that they can go to the prison, they go to prisons, and then like the prison system is like just making these people richer. And they are discouraging, people from pursuing higher education and getting trades. So like, maybe they want them to work these manufacturing jobs that's supposed to be coming back to the country. I don't know. But people are speculating that it just don't seem right. Like I said, money, man. You're gonna see over the next year. You're gonna see a lot of public entities, a lot of programs that a lot of people enjoyed, or a lot of people like came up from. You're gonna see stuff disappear slowly. You know what I mean? Especially if we don't get things on the right track, and if our government continues to look at those things as waste as opposed to things that kind of help the economy, then this is the bed that we made. I mean, and we're here. So, but what do you think? What do you think, man? Do you think it's wrong that Job Corps is closing down? Do you think there's a way to save it? Do you think that the government could do some things to kind of intervene to kind of, help it from closing its doors for good? What do you think? What do you think? Leave a comment below. Leave a comment below. All right. Moving on to the next thing. Moving on to the next thing. So here on this platform, we have been talking a lot about mental health. And I'm not a clinician of any sort. I don't claim to know anything. I don't claim to know more than what I've essentially been taught, so to speak. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't give mental health advice either. On here, I kind of react to some. There's some mental health professionals that I trust. Um, I know a lot of mental health professionals, what I mean, that are decorated, man. They got the credentials. And I think it's an important topic. It's an important thing because it's there is some downsides because I talk whenever I share these Raquel Hopkins videos, it's all to just raise awareness, and she does a good job of like doing what this article is about to say in terms of pointing out misinformation. So there's an article that came out, and I read this on san.com, which is Straight Arrow News. Um, and the article, I'm gonna read a little bit of this to kind of start it, and then we'll kind of react to it. But it says TikTok's so straight from Straight Arrow News, it says TikTok's top mental health videos are riddled with misinformation. Riddled with misinformation. It says more than half of TikTok's trending advice videos contain false or harmful mental health claims, experts warn. A new investigation has found that the social media platform's most popular mental health advice videos may be doing more harm than good. So it says experts raise red flags on viral therapy hacks. An analysis done by The Guardian reviewed that 52 of the 100 most viewed TikTok videos featuring mental health advice included unhelpful or potentially dangerous claims about managing trauma, anxiety, and depression. So here's what they got to say. It says a panel of psychologists, psychiatrists, and academic professionals reviewed the videos. The dubious advice includes eating an orange in the shower to reduce anxiety and consuming holy basil to heal trauma in an hour. That's kind of wild, right? Uh, Dr. Dan Poulter, a former UK health minister and practicing NHS psychiatrist, criticized many of the videos for blurring the line between normal emotions and clinical diagnoses. He told The Guardian some of the videos pathologize, pathologize. He told The Guardian some of the videos pathologize everyday experiences and emotions, suggesting that they equate to a diagnosis of serious mental illness. Amber Johnston, a psychologist accredited by the British Psychological Society, said the trauma-related clips were especially concerning for their oversimplification. It says here, each video is guilty of suggesting that everyone has the same experience of PTSD with similar symptoms that can easily be explained in a 30-second reel, Johnson said. So, so it's not a long article. It's only a couple more paragraphs here. But the article also talks about how like TikTok is trying to do things to like get the misinformation off of the platform, but it's obviously missing the mark when it comes to this. So So again, Raquel Hopkins, clinician that I mental health, clinician that I've shared her videos on here. She talks about that a lot. Like she keeps it real in the sense of she's not giving necessarily advice, and she's not telling you to do like tangible things, but she's talking about even though this is her profession, but she talks a lot about the downfalls of mental health, and the downfalls of mental health awareness and also like therapy and what people are learning. And she talks about a lot of these misconceptions and that how like a lot of people are, yeah, they are pathologizing, just everyday emotions, and they're making it seem like, oh my God, you must be depressed, or you must have anxiety, or oh, you might be OCD, or by all these different things, like all these random diagnoses that people kind of throw out there. And people are saying, people do that because of the stuff that they see. I've already told you how harmful some of these platforms can be. We learned last week that Instagram is actually the most harmful one to teen girls. But how many of these young people are just regurgitating information that they see on TikTok, because TikTok is the platform that they primarily live on. That is the platform that they primarily live on. And I've always said that TikTok is filled with a lot of misinformation. And people say, oh, I go to TikTok for everything. Well, I don't think you should go anywhere for everything. You know what I'm saying? But um, some of the information that you're getting on TikTok, you can get that on YouTube, and then at least on YouTube, people try to like. You have a lot of people. I don't feel like people when they react to stuff on TikTok, they do just kind of accept what they see. YouTube is critical, man. People will call you out if you're talking crazy. Now it might happen on TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok, but like people really call you out. People, hold you to task. It's longer form content, so like you actually get, instead of a 30-second reel, like you might be watching a 30-minute video that seems to be vetted out, and like people are giving like really good information. But yeah, like these short clips of information, these bursts of information, it's not conducive to like solving problems and getting through what you need to get through. So don't get your mental health advice from you shouldn't get your mental health advice from social media in general. Like in general. Um I listen to Raquel Hopkins talk about certain things because I'm in therapy. Like I have a therapist. So like um like I'm not getting my fix, so to speak, from social media. I'm just kind of hearing a professional, actual clinician, not just some random person, but like, it'll be, and I think with TikTok, there might be some psychologists on there, but there's probably like a lot of people that went through a little bit of therapy and they trying to share something that I don't know, they discovered, or something that they read, or something else that they saw on TikTok, as opposed to like citing it with any type of evidence. So, but be careful out there, man. All these platforms have misleading information. TikTok is no different, but like it's raising concern amongst the professionals, and they feel like, this is doing a lot of harm and people got to watch out. And again, our young people are particularly vulnerable because they live on these platforms, man. So, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do we got to do to get the misinformation off TikTok? Or should we just ban TikTok like they said they was gonna do? Should we just do that? I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they did that, but I know a lot of people would be upset about that. But all right, let's move on, man. Let's move on. Next topic. Next topic. Okay, I think we're okay. We're here. We're here. We're at the NBA playoffs, and man, I've been wrong. I've been wrong about most of the series. West in the conference finals series, the multiple series. I did have OKC winning, but I said in like 6 or 7 games, I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive. No, they got them out of here. They got was that a that wasn't a sweep. That was a gentleman sweep. So 5 games got them out of here. And then I really thought, I mean, the Knicks, they beat the Celtics. They beat the Celtics, so I thought they was on top. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way. Even though the Pacers might be a good team, there's no way the Pacers are getting them out of here. Like they're not beating them. They're not beating them. Even though they beat them last year, but they're not beating them. This team is better. And then The Knicks, man, they that game one, man, that game one is gonna haunt them. Them blowing game one is gonna haunt them all off season, and we're gonna talk a little bit about why it also is gonna haunt them, and we're gonna see if they can kind of duplicate the results, but it's hard there. But that game one's gonna haunt them. They end up losing in 6 games. If they win game one, it's a seven. We're talking about a 7 game series. You know what I mean, and then kind of getting ready for the finals. All right. So finals predictions. So we got the Pacers. We got Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder. Two of the most random states in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like talk about small market. Like this is a small market NBA Finals, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? We had the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is a bigger market than Milwaukee is. But yeah, this is not a sexy series, so to speak. But I'm glad that we're getting some parity, man. It's good to see new teams in the finals. Now, I think the Pacers have the advantage in coaching. Rick Carlisle is definitely like OKC has a good coach, but he ain't Rick Carlisle. He ain't Rick Carlisle. So I think the advantage when it comes to coaching is the Pacers. I think they both have depth. I think they both have good starting fives. I think the OKC has a better starting five. I think the Pacers have better depth though. They have better bench depth. I think let's see. I mean, they both got star players. And you got Halliburton and you got the MVP Shea Alexander. Some people don't put Halliburton in the superstar category, but I think he's proven more than enough that he is the truth. Like he's definitely a clutch player. Um, he's the best player on his team. He might not be their best offensive threat. They both got athletic bigs. You got Pascal Siakam, you got Chet Holmgren. I think the advantage there goes to Siakam. I think the advantage for star players it goes to the Thunder, but then those secondary players, right? So Jalen Williams is better than Neesmith, but like by how much though? You know what I'm saying? You got Hartenstein versus a guy like Miles Turner. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be defense. I think Miles Turner is a better offensive threat, but Hartenstein got a lot of good defense. Like he plays real good defense. Then you got like a guy like Lou Dort, and then you got Andrew Nemhard on the other side. So those are like their big time defensive stoppers. Guard, got some guard play. Lou Dort kind of plays guard in a forward position. Um, so yeah, like the matchups are good. I think the matchups are good. I think a safe bet is to take OKC because they got the MVP. I think it's kind of designed for him to win. But the Pacers, man, the Pacers, I mean, they got the man, they got the Cavaliers out of here. Now the Cavaliers are a little weak. You know what I mean, in terms of like toughness. They don't got that toughness. They don't got that dog in them. Man, we've seen moments where OKC just looks, it looks like they can just like turn on the switch and kind of just turn up on you. They can kind of keep it close at times. Damn, I want to pick the Pacers, but I think man, what's better for the NBA? I think it's better for the NBA if the Thunder win. I think the Pacers, they're tough, man. The Pacers are tough. Hmm. All right, I got it. Thunder and six. Thunder and six. I mean, and for the Thunder's sake, man, that's not good that I picked you. It's not good. Like, I mean, so if the Pacers win, I don't want to hedge my bets. I don't want to hedge my bets. So I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. I'm hoping for a good series. I'm hoping for a long series. I want if it goes 7 games, that'll be epic. That'll be incredible. But I think Shea is. I think he's gonna turn up, man. That's the thing. Like um, OKC has a better. They have a better offensive scheme, and they just do a lot. They do things a lot better than like New York does. Like New York is kind of, a little bit one dimensional. not really. They do got a lot of weapons. They do got a lot of pieces there, but it's just their style of play at times. It just doesn't seem conducive to like it didn't match up well with the Pacers. I think the Pacers just had like way better matchups. I think OKC is athletic as hell though, man. They're athletic as hell. They got a lot of they hungry. They hungry. And this is the time when you got a young team making the finals, you have to win. You have to win because the window of you being able to keep all these players is gonna shrink. These players get more attractive to other teams when they win a title or get close to a title. So like, yeah, so they need to win now. I think the Pacers still they got some time with that core. So yeah, I do think Carlisle he's gonna do a good job coaching up. I think the OKC is a lot better than the Knicks though. I think the OKC is a lot better than Knicks. And I think this season they've been better even than the Celtics. So if we're using like the Celtics, Pacers, yeah, the Pacers haven't played a team like OKC yet. So OKC in 6 games, man. So but yeah, speaking of crazy things, speaking of the Knicks, so the Knicks, man, they were able to make it to the conference final, first time in 25 years, first time since 2000 that they made the conference finals. Um, and Tom Thibodeau, he's made the playoffs, four times in the 5 years that he's been there. But and he's made it pretty far. What I mean, made it past the first round. 2 years in a row. I guess yeah. Well, did they make it to the? No, 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 because yeah, it was the Celtics Pacers. Yeah, getting out the first round. I mean, 2 years in a row. And then what did they do? What did the Knicks do? They celebrated. They coordinated this team after they beat the Celtics. Like it was a big celebration after they beat the Celtics. And then they lose to the Pacers. And what do? They fire Tom Thibodeau. Now, I don't even like Tom Thibodeau is not the greatest coach. I think Tom Thibodeau definitely has some flaws, but I think you have to recognize who got you there. Like, and I think you have to recognize like the style of play and like what your personnel is and then your team's identity and what does that go with? Like, and this is not the time to be firing your coach, man. Like, and this is part of why the NBA kind of sucks, man. And in the NFL, there's certain teams, certain owners that have a short leash on these guys. They don't let these coaches develop. But like NBA coaches have the worst job security. Now, I don't think the NBA coaches are complaining too much because they have guaranteed contracts. So like there's a lot of coaches that have been fired in the last several years, this year even included, that are being paid by their former teams, like tens of millions of dollars getting paid by their former teams because they got fired. So Tom Thibodeau, he just signed a 3-year extension. He just signed a 3-year extension, I think $30 million. So they still owe him 30. He just signed it. He just signed it before the playoffs. Like he just signed it. So they believed in him at one point in time. They saw the direction, they saw the vision. This is the best we've seen the Knicks like in a long, long, long time. Probably well since Melo. I mean, and when they had Melo, it was really they were only good because they had Melo. They weren't a good basketball team. They look like they actually have a tight core. They have a good team, and then you want to just get rid of the coach, man. Like it's a joke. It's a joke, man. Like, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense what they do in the NBA. And all they do is they just swap out coaches and it's just like a revolving door. Like you'll be an NFL, you'll be an NBA coach and what I mean, you're coaching your former teams. You're coaching against your former teams the very next season. You're in the division. What I mean, you're cycling through all the teams in the division. Like, and that's how it kind of works in the NBA. But then all the while, like you're still paying these people. So it's like it's all right. So it's like you don't even have the coach. You could just sit at home, sit on your butt, you know what I mean, and collect $30 million, because your owners don't have the same kind of vision, man. Like, and that's why they have the lottery because they worry about teams tanking. They worry about the NBA has a long history of owners just doing dumb things and being bad. So like that's why they have draft lotteries. So like teams don't tank completely and then get rewarded with great picks when they don't deserve them. And then what we do with coaches, like even the Nuggets, like you don't fire your coach 3 games before the playoffs start. Like I thought that was dumb. Like, and even if you have confidence in this new coach, like that's people don't take coaching seriously, man. People don't take it, and you don't take it seriously because there's no building, there's no faith, there's no like. What do you expect? So who are they gonna hire? Who they gonna hire with that stat like with that personnel? Who they gonna hire to make the changes? I think against the Pacers, yes, blowing game one is gonna hurt, and that again that's gonna sting. But in that Pacers series, no coach is perfect, right? But in that Pacer series, there might have been some moments where we kind of questioned the coaching a little bit or like the decisions he made. But what was clear to me was that they had a personnel issue. Not with their starting five, but like with their depth. They don't have a lot of bench depth and they don't have a lot of like he was using the same lineups. Like there was a stat that came out like the top five most used lineups in the NBA. And like 4 of the 5 were New York Knicks lineups, like and like maybe taking one guy out, you know what I mean? But like so he plays his like one of his biggest criticisms is that like he runs these players into the ground. People blame, Derrick Rose's the end of his career on Tom Thibodeau for like him just being overplayed. Derrick Rose probably averaging like 40 minutes a game. So he does have that criticism, and it might seem hard headed, but like when you looked at them versus the Pacers, yes, most teams do shorten their bench in the playoffs, and a lot of like bench players don't get to play. Teams are running with 7-man rotations for the most part. The Celtics run with a small bench. I mean, they might have 8, but they running with 7 most of the time. And so that's kind of like, Thibodeau is old school in that. Like he's gonna roll with that kind of style, like where it's like, all right, I'm shortening up my bench. You gotta play. If you wanna win, if we're gonna win, it's gonna be on your backs, not on the bench's back. And sometimes that does come back to bite you a little bit. Rick Carlisle though, and he must know his team and he must trust his team because I'm telling you, he was putting randoms in there and they were all producing. And that speaks to the coach he is, that speaks to what they do in practice, that speaks to the identity of the team where like they all believe in each other. You know what I mean? And again, the front office is probably on the same page with Rick Carlisle and a guy like Rick Carlisle, he like everybody don't get those kind of leashes, you know what I'm saying, to where like you're allowed to like yeah, it's okay to fail. It's okay to lose sometimes. You don't cut the cord right away. And New York is one of those volatile franchises that will do that. Like they cuz maybe cuz some fans were mad, you know what I'm saying? Like they will cut the cord on you. But like I don't know I mean they've had good coaches in the past and then they like after Jeff Van Gundy, they couldn't keep a good coach on that team, you know what I'm saying? So like why if I'm a coach, why would I want to go to New York when like I'm hated when I lose. Like you know what I mean? Even and I have no time to develop and I have to win now. Even though this team has not won a championship since the 70s or 80s, right? Even though they haven't won anything for that long, you ain't got no patience. No, you just want a revolving door. Okay, y'all got it. That's why the franchise ain't where it needs to be. But we'll see where they go moving forward. They're probably gonna hire one of these guys that got fired. So look for Mike Budenholzer. Look at Mike Malone. What I mean? Those are just some names that come off the top. Maybe they'll promote one of their assistants, right? Like that was out there. I don't think Maurice Cheeks is getting job like getting head coaching jobs no more. You know what I'm saying? But like we'll see. We'll see. But I think it's a haphazard and dumb move by the Knicks to fire Tom Thibodeau after this season. Now, after next season, if you give him another year, To be honest, I think you let him play out his contract. You let him play out his contract with Jalen Brunson, whatever. Or I don't know what Jalen Brunson's contract is, but like you let him roll with that core. You let him roll with that duo of Cat and Brunson. See what he can do with it. But now they're gonna have a whole different philosophy, a whole different game plan, and we'll see if it works. But I don't think it's a good move. All right, let's we're going to the last part of the show. Last part. What do you think? What do you think about the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau? What do you think about the NBA Finals? Who you got? Tell me who you got in the comments. Let me know. Maybe we could make a little friendly wager or something like that. All right. So two shows that I've seen, and I love that both shows are black shows. You know, I love that. I love when we get some good black shows. Um, One is The Shy has come back, and I've seen the first episode, and then I missed like the second, and then I had to catch up. So I actually got a chance to watch like two episodes back to back, which was it's amazing. It was like a mini binge. It felt good. So The Shy is back for season 7, and they've already been renewed for season 8. So we'll talk about them in a little bit. But I wanted to talk about this other show called Forever. So there's a Netflix show called Forever, and apparently it's an adaptation of a Judy Bloom book called Forever. And because I'm like Judy Bloom, I know that name. Like I'm like, who is Judy Bloom? And I had to look it up, and I'm like, is Judy Bloom black? Like whatever. No, so Judy Bloom is not a black lady. She's a white author, and so this is a modern adaptation, but about black love, so to speak. So this book, um, it comes from a novel that deals with teens finding love while navigating their lives with parents that have high expectations for them, right? So yeah, you have it's like a coming of age like love story. So you got a kid, you got these two kids, they go to private schools. um, they meet during New Year's. It was like New Year's Eve. They happen to meet. They hit it off. The boy, his name is Justin. The girl's name is Keisha. So when Justin, like he takes a liking to her. One of the first things he learns about her is that this girl Keisha has a reputation. Well, Keisha, right? Keisha had a sex tape going on. Like there was a sex tape of her out there. So obviously, like Justin's dealing with that peer pressure, that weirdness of it all because like finding this out, like he likes this girl, but then he found this out, and then one of his first encounters, one of his first dates with Keisha, she was about to, she was about to give him some delight, you know what I'm saying? And he turned her down, and he asked it's funny because he's awkward. Like I wouldn't say they say he had ADHD. I would say he was acting like he was on the spectrum a little bit. But he had a real shrewd, like a real weird awkwardness to him. Really introverted, but he does have friends. He plays basketball. He likes to make beats and stuff like that. But yeah, he ended up making a comment like, hey, you're not trying to do this to me because I bought you something, and then it like kind of blew up in their faces. It was cool to see like just this back and forth, you know what I mean? And kind of like I like how they tried to make this take place a couple years ago. So like it starts in like 2017, and then I think we get up to like 2019 when this and fortunately, so the way this was, I thought it was like a little underwhelming, but then I find out that they're coming back for another season because this felt like a limited series. So like the way it ended, I was like, bro, are we seriously doing that? But yeah, man, they end up finding each other, and kind of working through their issues, and then they both have pressures to like get to college and figure out what they're going to do at the next level. Keisha has these barriers because she's been kind of ostracized by her peers, and she had to move schools because of that tape. And then and then you got Justin, he doesn't really know what he wants to do. He's good at basketball, but he's not getting the playing time that he kind of deserves. His mom has a cookie cutter plan for how his life is supposed to work out. He's supposed to go to this college, he's supposed to do this, supposed to do that. And that's where he's kind of struggling a little bit because he's trying to find his own identity. and then but then he's trying to find love, and then he's trying to reconcile that, and it's a really good story, really good story. Again, I gave out a little bit, but I didn't really give out any spoilers. You know what I'm saying? So like, definitely something is too much to talk about because I watched the whole series. It's definitely too much to just break down the full thing, but I definitely want to give my review of it. So I did hear that there were a lot of spoilers on this. So like, there are some people that didn't watch it because of spoilers. Luckily, I feel fortunate because I missed those spoilers. And again, if you're watching this, you're not getting any. I'm not giving you too much about anything. I did really love it though. I'm gonna be honest. I did really like it. I wanted to binge watch the whole thing. Like I remember the first four episodes. Like I was hooked. I was like, okay, like, and just the way they were ending the episodes and going into the next thing. It was really good. It was really good. So I watched like the first four episodes like back to back to back to back, and then I was watching them like sporadically. So it took me a little bit to get through the series. I thought the casting was really good. Wood Harris plays Justin's father. I thought that was A1 casting. I think he has a very relatable personality, and he's the kind of dad that I think that a lot of young black men, my age even too, like a lot of young black men would appreciate. You know what I'm saying? He's supportive, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he goes to bat for his son, supports him in whatever he wants to do. He's protective of his interests, but also like he's that good buffer between the mom and him, and then he's very understanding and down to earth, right? So very relatable, knows how to talk to his son about uncomfortable topics, but then like even when he's giving a lecture, it doesn't feel like a lecture. It just feels like two men are having a conversation. And I think, that's why I strive to be as a father. Like I don't want to constantly lecture my son. I want to have conversation with him where there's kind of like a mutual understanding. The mom, great casting as well. She was a lot. She was a lot at first, but I did grow on her because at the end of the day, she had her son's best interests at heart. The character's name was Dawn, but the actress's name is Karen Pittman. I looked at what she's done. I've never seen any like I see she's done quite a bit of work, but I've never seen anything that she's been a part of. So I've never really seen her on camera. Fine. She was fine. She was sexy. That was good casting. Like, so, and they look like a good couple. Her and Wood Harris playing the parents. Um, I thought the kid that played Justin. I thought he was good. I thought it was you know awkward teen. I thought he played. There were some moments where you get frustrated with him a little bit, and I thought Keisha was great too. Bubbly, good personality, nice appearance, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think her mom didn't really fit to me. Like her mom looks like casting wise, she looks like she could play Keisha's mom, but I just thought the actress, she just didn't fit. She didn't fit like she seemed a lot younger than what the role she was trying to play. Like her and Keisha seemed a lot closer in age than they probably were supposed to. Now maybe that was intentional, like, and like she was, I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional or not. But um yeah, again, I did think that this was a miniseries and I thought it ended poorly, but then finding out there was a season two, it made me feel good. Let's see. It was a beautiful story. It was a beautiful story overall. But I thought that the depictions of being a team were a little bit off to me. I know this is a new day and age and everything, but I don't know many young boys that would be cool with the girl that they're pursuing if a tape came out about them. I mean, now granted, there might be some boys that might look at that as an opportunity to just kind of like, get one thing out of that girl. But like, high school in particular, man, it's filled with so much like you deal with so much insecurities and things like that that to where, bro, like when even just hearsay, like I remember when I was in high school, if like people would you would have an interest in a girl, and now looking back retrospect, like most of the stuff that people was talking about was BS, like most of the stuff they were saying was BS. And I don't know if that's just the nature of like young kid, like adolescence, when we're trying to find love and we're trying to date. Like it feels like everybody is it feels like there's a microscope on you, and it feels like everybody has input. But like I remember talking to some girls, and then like people just prefacing to me like they find out I talked to a girl or dating a girl, whatever, and is people running down this girl's history like, oh, yo, she did this, oh, she used to go with this person, oh, and like talking about sexual acts that like may or may not have happened. um there's a microscope, you know what I mean? And I think in some ways it comes from a good place. I think your boys are just trying to look out for you. But then I think there is like maybe some jealousy and some hate there. But like if there was actual evidence that the girl that you was trying to date had a sex tape out there, I don't know. Like he dealt with it in such a mature way that I was just like, this is not accurate. Like this ain't no boy taking no girl seriously. I'm gonna say he ain't taking no girl seriously after he finds out something like that. But so I thought it was good. I thought that Justin was almost like too mature. And then side note, but it was real. So even though that was not realistic to me, it was realistic that Keisha did not share that information with her own mother, and like her making a bunch of excuses as to why not. So her mother, single mom. I mean, Keisha does have a father, but her father is like he's not a deadbeat, but he's absent. He's not there every day. So this woman is working to make ends meet, and Keisha, it was realistic how like Keisha was like internalizing her mom's issues, and she didn't want to tell her mom the truth because she felt like that would just add a burden to her. And she said it was a couple of different things that she said in that show where she was like, yeah, of course I want my mom to think I'm perfect. Like she deserves that. And I just thought that was like although I felt like that happens in real life, that's a dangerous way of thinking. Like, you not wanting to tell your parents the truth about certain things because they deserve to think that you do no wrong, even though you do wrong. Like that's not healthy. But that was realistic because kids, I feel like young people make weird decisions like that all the time. And they dig themselves a hole that it makes it hard to come out of. Um, you know what I mean? Because this goes like over like their junior year into their like senior, I guess, yeah, into their senior year, and they kind of make it work, everything. But when they're going to college, I feel like they kind of fast. They That's why I felt like it was a miniseries because they sped through a lot of time. And I just didn't like that. Like he ended up deciding to take a gap year. Now, I didn't mention this. He does come from like really good socioeconomics like household. You know what I'm saying? His dad owns a restaurant and is a chef. His mom, she make money. I don't know what she do, but she got money. Like, and you could tell she was a boss. But I just thought like, him taking a gap year and him not going to college to make beats. I just thought I was like, I don't like that they did that. You know what I'm saying? But maybe to make it a little bit more edgy and more realistic. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm excited for season two whenever that comes out, probably next year at some point. But I'm glad I took the time to watch that. And then last show that we're going to talk about today is The Shy. So again, first off, I did want to shout out that I'm glad that it got renewed for season 8. Um, so far we're 3 episodes in, and I don't even think we've even scratched the surface as to where this plot is going. So like, there's a lot of things happening, and I feel like these first 3 episodes they're just kind of rebuilding the world, right? So we left off season 6. Um, and Duda was killed, and then Nuck has taken over, and then Nuck has killed Rob, right, which is Tiffany's baby dad. Um, he also I feel like he got rid of somebody, whatever. You know what I mean? And we know about Nuck. We learned that he's Keisha's baby's father. Actually, like Keisha was not a victim of like her baby is not the product of her, attack and abuse. It was her last little dude that she messed with, which was Nuck, which he was bad news anyway. But I feel like we're reintroducing characters. Like in episode 3, I think Gemma made her first appearance in episode 3. Bakari's sister made her first appearance in episode 3. Um, we seen Rashad. We seen some. I feel like Papa wasn't really in the show yet too much. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Um, And then we're saying goodbye. It seems like we're saying goodbye to some characters. So like, Gemma might be going away to New York. You know what I mean, to pursue something. I don't know what that's gonna mean for her on the show. It looked like Maisha is going to LA like to meet up with Kevin or to pursue that. So I don't know if Maisha is leaving the show for good, but they try to be strategic and trying to write her off. We got the return of Reggie, which is Jake's one of Jake's older brothers. And the way it looks like Reggie is like the middle child. You know what I mean? You have Trig or Victor, you got Reggie, and then you got Jake, right? And Reggie was the first brother that we seen with Jake, and he was the one that was kind of raising him in that particular household. They was obviously living in the trap house, and he was his only like guardian when he was like a little boy. And Trig wasn't in the picture. He wasn't around. I forget where he was at anyway. But he wasn't even a character yet. So, but I don't know why they brought him back, and my man's just already on some negative stuff and basically trying to turn up, man. He's trying to take back the city. Now that Duda's gone, he think he about to take over and he about to take Nuck's spot. But like, we haven't seen this guy in like 3 seasons. They try to play it as if like, oh, he got shot, but like there was no funeral for him. So that's how they kind of like kept the door open for him. I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that writing is a little bit lazy. I don't, characters coming back from the dead or like a perceived death. I don't really like when directors and writers try to do stuff like that. It's kind of weak. Um, but yeah, let's talk about Nuck, man. So we're just gonna talk about a couple characters because we can't get into all the plots, and I might start giving you some shy recaps again. I remember I did that for part of season five, part of I think I did it for all season five, and then part of season six. I did it a little bit. So Nuck, right? Again, I'm having an issue with some of these representations, like I think it's good that they have these characters that are like multifaceted and things like that. But like Nuck is clearly he's trying to be the new Doodah, so to speak. But he's clearly a stone cold killer, like ruthless stone cold killer. And I just, and I get the dramatic irony is the fact that like we know he's the killer, but then he's still interacting with Tiffany. He's interacting with Rob's mom, like all in their face. You know what I'm saying? Like even though he's a killer, but I don't like how they're trying to overcorrect some of that, and they're trying to humanize him too much, and like because now he's the father, and like he's having these existential moments where he's talking about like fatherhood and he wants to be a good father. But realistically, this is where the representation is kind of weird because one, they definitely make him into two, like he's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like he's two different characters when he's the dad and when he's this killer, right? But that representation is very bad and it's very inaccurate because from what I know from growing up in the streets, growing up around activity, growing up, you know what I mean, around crime and seeing it, the dudes that get busy in the streets that do all the violence, that's doing all the trapping, right? These dudes is not good fathers. And I'm not saying that you cannot be a good father, but like if you are actively harming people, and we're talking about like it's not like he's just, he getting into fights with people and stuff like that. It's not like he's just aggressive smacking people. He's deleting these people, right? He's getting them out of here. Like he's erasing them off the earth. You know what I'm saying? Setting up his own people to get, I mean, like that stuff lives on your conscience, whatever. Like, and you just cannot be in your right mind, just being out there, just being a father, and like most of those guys are absent, man. Like those guys do not be involved in the kids' lives. And then what I had a homie, because we was talking about the shot a little bit, and we was like, critiquing it because he asked me what I thought about it, and I was honest with him. I said, yeah, like it's good overall, but like some of these depictions are crazy. And we talked about Nuck a little bit, and he was like, yeah, yeah, it is kind of weird because like he's not even cautious. Like if you are out there hurting all these people, your head is on a swivel. You're not really in public gatherings and stuff like that. But like, no, this guy be in public, just confident and cool and calm and do baby showers and things like that. Like he's a part of all these different things, and it's like, bruh, these dudes do not be active like that. They don't. They do not be that active, and they don't be publicly active like that. Like so, it's a little bit of. I'm glad that they try not to be super negative, but like I think it's like a dangerous. I think it's almost a dangerous and irresponsible representation because you making it seem like, yo, yeah, you could do both. Like you could be knee deep in a life of crime, but like you could be a good dad. Like, no, you can't be both. You cannot be both. I don't care what nobody says. You cannot be both. I know they try to do that with like the kingpins and stuff like that, but those dudes ain't good fathers either. Like they provide, like they have money, but they don't be good fathers. You know what I'm saying? But that's that. With that character, I don't like what's going on with Tiffany right now. Like I see that she's grieving, and then yeah, I feel like she's about to start like I don't know, she's about to start a relationship with somebody else. You know what I mean? But like she's grieving, and then she obviously like she's giving Emmett more responsibility of their son. But then in this grieving process, like she's pregnant and she's grieving, and like just all the emotions with that. I don't know where they're taking her character, but it's like she doesn't have anybody, but then she has this like village, and I don't know. It don't make me. It's weird. It looks away. Like I'm thinking like, all right, what's about to happen? Um, she's not really taking care of all her responsibilities, and then now we see this presence of what's it, Alicia, where she's like no, like you're gonna name my grandson after my son, right? And like I'm letting you live here for free, so like be grateful, and like I'm gonna get a lot more input than you ever anticipated me having. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy that we're getting from Alicia, and it's kind of weird there. Um, other than that, I think it is good. There are some plot lines that are a little bit weird. I don't know where this battle of the pastors plot line is going. Um, you know what I mean? He left his wife and because she got caught up, and now he's messing with this guy. But then you got what the dude, the Rotimi, whatever his character's name is. He's obviously trying to infiltrate the church and usurp him. He it seems like he wants to be his disciple, but he wants to take over at some point. He seems like an opportunist. I don't know where that's going quite yet. But then the message. This is the only thing I have an issue with too. Is like the Shy does a good job of like. I think they do stuff better than like a lot of the Tyler Perry shows and movies and stuff like that. But like it's starting to become this show is starting to become guilty of a lot of the same stereotypes and a lot of the same tropes. And what I mean is like just these messy lives. Like so this opening scene in episode 3, you got Emmett, right? And it looks like because they said 6 months later. So like Keisha is showing, she's pregnant and she's showing. Tiffany is pregnant and he's showing, and she's showing, and then he has he has his hand around both of them, and he's like, "Oh, my baby mamas, whatever." So he has kids to both of these women, or he's gonna have a kid to Keisha. He's gonna he has a kid to Tiffany with Tiffany, and then like I know it happens like that. Like I know like people's lives be messy, but like I don't know, just showing it on camera and making it like it's like a romanticized thing. It's weird. It's so weird. It's like, and it's such a bad. I think that's a bad representation for us a little bit, man. Like it's real, it's life, but it's like, bro, that shit just looks so. It looks so messy. And then like when you really dig into all the characters, and like a lot of shows do this because like All American is famous for it. They even called it the vortex, right? When all those people intermingling. But like, yeah, like everybody that mess with everybody on this show, it feels like, and it's not just one group of people. It's like you got different friend groups and people that have messed with each other, and it's just messy. So I love it. I love where we go. I love the show overall. I think it is a good show. I think they need to, yeah, the writing needs to tighten up a little bit. I think they're getting a little sloppy. They're getting a little lazy, bringing characters back, and like just they have to do something to like make it less. Some of the mess needs to be cleaned up a little bit. That's all I gotta say. Some of the mess gotta be cleaned up a little bit. But everybody is messing with everybody. Was it Tracy? That was what was that Coogie's mom? No, that wasn't Coogie's mom. That her son was Jason, who she was the one that was with Duda for a long time. Like mad thirsty. She mad thirsty out there. Like she want everybody, and she willing to mess with the random dude from Smokies for a one night stand. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. I'm gonna keep watching. Like I said, I might incorporate episode recaps into my routine with the shine now that it's back. Now it's on a week to week basis, but we'll see how that goes. Other than that though, man, great show. I appreciate being with y'all. Like I do every other episode. Like every other episode, I love being with y'all. I appreciate you, man. If you're still watching the channel, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Leave a comment, share the content, help the algorithms out. We talked about a lot today. We talked about the shutting down of Job Corps. We talked about Lotto and her feeling kind of disenchanted by being rich, which is like, whoa, woe is me. Talked about a little bit about the Cardi B fiasco. Tom Thibodeau getting fired by the Knicks. NBA Finals predictions. What else do we have? And then we recap these two shows. Oh, mental health professionals are calling TikTok out for their misinformation. And then, we recapped Forever and The Shy. So leave a comment below, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate you helping me keeping this thing going. And this is episode 195 of the 280 Plus podcast. I'm your host, Low Steph, and I'm out, y'all.